down to all 6 games really quick. Do a quick breakdown, Glenn. What's going on?
Not much. Supporting my Nebraska Cornhuskers.
Your brother now one of the new assistant coaches under Matt Rule.
Hard hat Saturday here. Greatest weekend in sports, if you ask me. To get all the playoff teams going.
We got two today, 3 tomorrow, and a big one, of course, with Brady and the Cowboys on Monday night. So let's start right away. San Francisco taking on Seattle. San Francisco with the last player picked in the NFL draft this past year, Brock Purdy, going up against another great story, another quarterback who played for both the New York Jets and the Seattle Seahawks, like yourself, Geno Smith. What are your thoughts? What are your quick takes on this game?
Two really good football teams. And Brock Purdy's playing great. If you look at his stats in terms of where he is since he's played, I think he was 5-0. I mean, it's not like this is some kind of fluke of a deal. The kids now, the 49ers have probably the best team. They're ranked, I think, 1 or 2 overall in terms of the way these experts are ranking these teams. Their defense is phenomenal. They play fast, and Purdy he fit in perfectly. He's just one of those guys who fits into the team perfectly, and he's played great football. He's quick. You know what he reminds me of? Just get a kid from Georgia, little Stetson Bennett out there, smaller kid, not huge in size, obviously not huge in stature, but you don't get drafted even as Mr. Irrelevant. Everyone's like, oh, he's a bum. No, you don't draft Mr. Irrelevant if the kid can't play. That's a dart throw of a guy and the 49ers are great at doing this, picking quarterbacks, because they know how valuable it is. They value the value of the position, gives a guy like Brock Purdy or a quarterback one up over somebody that they may like a little bit better, but doesn't value him as much because of that spot. So, no, he's doing great. And then Geno on the other, roll around what Geno's doing. People forget, and you're getting a lot of flack from the current quarterback, Zach Wilson. These are kids when they come out. When these kids come out, they're 23, 24, even 20. Even now, some of them are 25 coming out. I think Stetson's 25.
The Thornton Mellon of college football.
Yeah, they need to mature. These guys really don't hit their prime till they're 30 at quarterback. Now, some of these guys come out as rookies, and they're really good. Mahomes was really good when they came out, but not starting right away. Pickett had a phenomenal year. Watch what Kenny Pickett did as a rookie. That's a phenomenal job in that division.
He almost helped lead them to the playoffs when they were on the brinks of being dead this midseason.
Yeah, and see, the hand size thing means absolutely nothing. If you watch and I've been talking about this a lot lately. If you watch the new generation of quarterbacks, there's something going on with the coaching of these quarterbacks. The fundamentals and the mechanics of some of these guys is just brutal. To watch Justin Fields try to throw the ball, it's painful to watch. And Carson Wentz does the same exact thing. Sam Darnold does the same thing. Baker Mayfield.
It's kind of like a hitch at the top of the release.
Okay, when you separate the hands to throw the ball, the wrist can't go like this. The thumb has to stay up. So when you separate, thumb up, and then the ball goes up. These quarterbacks are being taught to drop the ball and pronate. If the thumb goes this way and the tip of the ball points away from the target, see it's going that way. I want the tip has to go this way. These guys flip the wrist and the ball goes down. And once that happens, it takes too long for it to come back around and get out. So it goes down and up and becomes a problem. You watch Kenny Pickett, Joe Burrow's great at it. Tom Brady, the ball goes straight up. They separate up, not back and down. So when I see that happen, I do now. It's Nebraska and some colleges, but I still do pro analysis of these quarterbacks coming out. And when I see that thumb go down at when I call pulling the pin, when they take the ball out from under their chin to throw, this action happens with the hand, done, automatic 3-star. So all these quarterbacks are doing it. Takes them forever. The quarterbacks that do it right last a little bit longer and they're more accurate. So that's not Jalen Hurts actually has the same problem, but their offensive line is so good. He has so much time to throw. It's not an issue right now. The minute Lane Johnson went out, you have a problem. And now he's playing. Lane's playing this week. He's all pro center. Mailata didn't even get any love. He's really good too at left tackle. Not great, not the best tackle, but one of the best now. That team is really tough to beat. But the going back to Geno's matured, and he's playing with great confidence, and he throws the ball with great accuracy. But he's understanding, he's developed, he's maturing at the position. When that happens, and in NFL, people just want everything right now, especially these owners. I want to win, and I want to win now, or you're gone. It happened to my brother and Matt Rule, where David Tepper has no idea what he's doing.
In a situation like today, you have, Pete Carroll's coming in as a big underdog today. You played for Pete Carroll, Super Bowl winning coach. He's been there, done that. Shanahan got to the brink of a Super Bowl, but Carroll is a Super Bowl winning coach. How much does that mean coming into a game? You have a team that you're not expected to win this game. And I guess the second question, as we talk about this game, the rain is supposed to be awful all game long there. Does that favor either team? So Pete Carroll first.
Yes, it absolutely does. Shanahan's been in the playoffs, so he knows what's going on. Pete being a champion, that absolutely helps. Being able to prep the guys, the mental part absolutely helps. The rain.
The favor either team, the defensive team in San Francisco.
It's going to favor San Francisco because they play fast on defense. They're going to make it trouble. It ultimately takes away the passing threat of the Seahawks. And the running game, if you watch, this is why I thought Anthony Lynn needs some extra love. We watched the running game in the 49ers. It's really dynamic. They, whether it's Debo back there, now with McCaffrey, you have some real problems on defense when you see McCaffrey on one side and Debo on the other. Not even to mention when you throw Ayuk in. So they pose so many problems for you offensively, and they got really good offensive linemen. They're going to be a problem. And in their super rain, I mean, what do? You got to stop one of them. You got to stop Debo, or you got to stop McCaffrey. And if they're not in the backfield, even more of a problem in a lot of ways. So, in a rain game, you want the team that plays great defense, plays speed with speed, and can also run the football. And nobody runs the ball like the 49ers. There's a few teams, but the Titans aren't in it. There's some real teams that are geared to the run. The Ravens are more geared to the run, better suited for the running for the rain game.
Okay, tonight we'll get to your pick in a couple minutes. Tonight we got the Los Angeles Chargers traveling to Jacksonville, where they got thrashed. I think it was week 1 or week 2. I forgot which way they got destroyed. Taking on Doug Peterson, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence making his playoff debut against probably your favorite player in the league, Justin Herbert.
Love the way Herbert throws. Just the natural thrower, athletic. I call him athletic throwers. Just the purest throwing quarterback I've seen in a long, long time, maybe ever. He's that good. He's that strong with his arm. Can throw the ball 70-plus yards in the air. I love this game. I can't wait for this game. This is great. I'm glad they put this one on Saturday night. They claiming Trevor's never lost on Saturday. Dougie P's got him rolling. And this league, I always said this. Great Bob Dylan wrote, those the losers now will later to win. So the teams that play bad at the beginning of the year, they eventually, once they get their health and they get themselves rolling, they become dangerous down the stretch. The Packers were one of those teams. The Lions were one of those teams. Didn't make the playoffs, obviously, but the Jags did. And they're one of those teams that you do not want to play. They're at home. They won the division. This is a very difficult game. Like the Cowboys have one coming up. What's that, tomorrow? Is that Monday night?
Monday night.
Yeah, just a very difficult game for Herbert to go into Jacksonville. It's going to be raucous. We haven't seen Jacksonville in the playoffs. You give me that stat. When was the last time we saw them in the playoffs? In the early 2000s?
Something like that. The loss yesterday of the announced loss, and this is a guy who's been injured all throughout his career. Big play receiver Mike Williams, not there for Justin Herbert.
Awful job by the head coach. That they were locked into that spot, if I'm not mistaken, right? So he goes out and he tries to play. Now, it's one thing if these are rookies and they're young kids. These guys are like these are the guys like Tampa Bay. When healthy, you can't stop San Diego. Very difficult to stop them with Williams on one side, and one big 1-3 on the other. And then
and Eckler is as good as it comes coming out of the backfield.
So you got a triple threat going. Now that triple threat goes to a dual threat. Palmer's a good receiver, but he's not Mike Williams in
Yeah.
the athleticism that he brings in the size. So that kills them. My senior year we beat Notre Dame in college. The following week we lost my best receiver in practice, and then we lost. We ended up losing the following week, and losing that one key offensive wide receiver. It was our speed guy, and it absolutely crushed us not having our best receiver out there, and we lost the following week. I hate the fact it's a game-changing type of injury. Now, if I'm that coach going into that game and I'm locked in, Allen and Williams are not playing in that game at all whatsoever. I'm resting my big vet. You want to play Herbert? That's fine.
And Allen was hurt a lot of the season as well.
It's like having Mike Williams. You're not like Mike Williams. Once you're in, you rest that guy. Tom Brady is a whole different player without Mike Evans. So, and the same thing with Herbert. You take away Allen and Williams. Now Herbert's just he's a really good prospect quarterback, but he's not putting up those numbers without both of them. So that's a real bad job by the Chargers coach. Real bad job.
So we'll go through the Sunday games real quickly. First game of the day, Minnesota and the Giants. Kirk Cousins, who might be the most maligned quarterback in the NFL, especially when it comes to these big games, taking on the Giants. Daniel Jones and Dable weren't supposed to be here. Overachieved, in my opinion. There's not a lot of talent beside Barkley on offense. I pretty much have never heard of any of their wide receivers, yet the New York Giants have found a way to win 9 games this year.
Well, number one, they play good defense. They're professionals, and they've changed that attitude in the locker room. Almost like the Lions, where you see professionalism. You're going to go at it no matter what happens every game. They're a dog. It's a dog fight. That's the Lions. That's the Giants now. It's the Jets too. You go out to you go out there. You may beat them, but you're coming home in a nice bag. So this is an interesting game, an intriguing game. One game you don't want to go anywhere near if you're betting, because anything could happen. The Giants could win this game outright. It wouldn't surprise me, but there's some real talent in Minnesota. And if Cousins, as long as Cousins gets good weather and he's home, they're very hard to stop.
Well, they're in the dome at home if it's bad weather.
They're very hard to stop on offense. So the Giants, and the reason the Giants are doing well, Dimes has had a great year. Danny Dimes has really had a great year. These guys that are running quarterbacks, Danny actually throws the ball better than most of them. He's mainly a running guy, and if he doesn't run, they're in big trouble. But when he does run, they're very tough to stop, especially in the red zone. These red zone teams, these quarterbacks, the Jalen Hurtses of the world, even when I would platoon a Justin Fields. You get a veteran quarterback with Justin Fields, all of a sudden you get in the red zone, send in Justin Fields. Now you got yourself a legitimate dual threat. And I'd call them red zone threats or red zone quarterbacks, where if you got them, you play him. I would never start Malik Willis or Justin Fields, but I'd be playing them. They're unbelievable athletes. These guys can run. And the old adage of, oh well, we can't play 2 quarterbacks. Yeah, watch me. And not only that, with the minute I get in the red zone or I got first and goal from the 9, here comes Justin Fields, and we got a whole package that I'm running. So those guys are so hard to stop because it's just a simple number count on defense. Once you get into you can't account for everybody. If you do, and you're any good on offense, you're going to crush people. So that's why the Eagles are so tough. And Jalen Hurts didn't have a great year throwing the football. He had an average to maybe a little above average because he's got so many weapons, but he was so good with his legs. And when you get that double threat, now he's completing. He's not a 70%. He'll never complete 70%. His mechanics are awful, but he's got intangibles. And the guy can really play. He's not like Justin Fields because he's overcoming his mechanical issues that he has. Not Drew Brees did the same thing. Brees wasn't perfect mechanically, but he was so pinpoint good at what he did and such a great athlete that he overcame those some of the little deficiencies he had in his motion. But Jalen Hurts is the same way, and he can run. He's way underestimated as a runner. He's almost like a tailback but he's a much better thrower than people give him credit for. But he's not. His deficiencies in throwing will show up Should Lane not play or move on, or the offensive line gets dinged, Kelsey gets hurt? If there's some kind of wrinkle happens in on that offensive line, Jalen Hurts becomes very average. Now that hasn't happened, and everyone's getting killed for criticizing Hurts. Well, you can't. It's hard to criticize him when you have the perfect center and the offensive tackles that he has, because you're going to have all day to throw. And I've never seen anything like it when he has, in this day and age, when you have all pass rushers on defense, and Lane Johnson and Mailata's had an unbelievable year. Not a perfect year, but man, almost you watch these Jason Peters guys. Peters is going to be one of the great offensive line coaches of all time. You watch, he was one of the great tackles, but he basically coached Mailata into what he is. And the guy is, you watch that guy, the size and the speed and his feet. He doesn't have the perfect form and the technique, but man, is he an unbelievable athlete. Those guys protect Jalen Hurts so well that, I mean, he could punt the ball to some of these receivers at times. And then you got Brown and Smith running around with Goddard. Whoa, they're loaded, absolutely loaded. So Jalen Hurts has leadership skills and intangibles that aren't measurable. So
we'll get more in the Eagles next week when we talk about this. I actually accidentally skipped the game. Buffalo Bills, Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins is in a whole world of trouble. Skylar Thompson, we talk about 7th-round picks and guys unheralded. Skylar Thompson isn't Brock Purdy. He's a guy who in college is, my opinion, I saw him play a lot of Kansas State, very ordinary player in college. I can't believe this guy's actually starting a playoff game for the Miami Dolphins, who, like I know you mentioned before, teams like Pittsburgh and Detroit, some of these teams, Green Bay, that didn't get in but were surging at the end. Talk about a free-falling team is the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, and the main reason, I said this, and I watched Chad Pennington, and we did the draft show, and I always said that Tua and these quarterbacks that have issues with their arm strength, it shows up in playoff time. It shows up in January. It shows up in December when you get bad weather games. So when you see Tua, he's having a perfect game in Miami and everything's great, September and October, all of a sudden, whoa, here comes 19 degrees and you got to go on the road and you got to play and the ball's not spinning, and all of a sudden the ball's not traveling very far. He doesn't have the strength and the arm to get the ball through bad weather. So that's his biggest. Pennington was awesome until he got to the AFC playoff games where it got cold and he had to go on the road, and then he had to throw some tight window throws against some really good defenses. That's when the arm strength problems start to show up. So
I don't think the Dolphins have to worry about Tua. But what I'm saying, it's kind of get back on track a little bit. Skylar Thompson started this game in Buffalo. I got you. It's an impossible spot for him. It's either 13 or 14-point dogs. This game could be 42-0. But then again, it's a division game. It haunts me. If there's going to be a blowout game, it's going to be this one. But again, the 14 points is a lot of points. That's why ultimately, when we go over my picks, I had to. This game made me start thinking tease, because I don't want to see a 12-9 AFC East division battle where nobody can move the ball, and that could very easily happen. I don't expect it to happen. I'm expecting like the 34-10 game or something like that, where Skylar's going to have problems. It's just too hard. I've been in there. It's a really tough place to play. I don't know what the weather's going to be like. There's probably snow on the ground. It's going to be cold. It's windy here in the East, windy and cold. So this is your nightmare game if you're a rookie quarterback, having to go on the road to Buffalo as a Miami Dolphin quarterback where you're used to practicing in the 80-degree weather. Let me ask you this, and I don't think it's going to matter. A score may give the Bills even more of a boost. You were in locker rooms. You've been on teams. Guys get hurt and everything. What would happen? I don't know if it's going to happen. I'm just speculating, and I want to get a player's point of view. An hour before kickoff, DeMar Hamlin, if he walks in that locker room, what does that do for the Buffalo Bills?
Yeah, I don't know how much. I know he's back and he's kind of
Buffalo. Yeah, we don't know. They haven't announced if he's going to be in the stadium or not.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be in the stadium because he's healthy enough, and in his mind, he wants to play. he wants to play in this game, and believe in his mind, he can play in this game. But obviously, I'm not going to let him play. But not only he's if I'm the coach, we're doing a pregame, and then we're walking him out onto the field for the stadium to go crazy, and he's going to lead us out. Now I don't know if that's going to be wheelchair, or I don't know what kind of conditions him. But if he can walk, he's going to walk out, and the place is going to fucking go crazy. And that place goes fucking crazy anyway.
Yeah, so it's a great fan base.
They rolled back the opening. They scored 2 kickoff returns on the first game back. His first time back in the stadium. Just a tough spot. Imagine being Skylar Thompson. This could be a 50-0 game, with all that going on. So there's going to be hype. There's going to be emotional. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be cold. It's going to be windy. It's going to be Buffalo. So I don't know. I would keep that. If I'm playing the Dolphins, I'm keeping the stadium open. If one of those closable roofs up there now. Back in the old days, it was you just looked to see when you were playing Buffalo, and you prayed it wasn't at the end of the season.
So last game tomorrow is it's more about who isn't playing than who is playing. The Cincinnati Bengals take on the Baltimore Ravens all week. It's been, is Lamar Jackson going to practice? Is he going to play? When he got hurt, it was 1 to 3 weeks. Now we're going on 6 weeks. And then we talked yesterday off the air, and you some interesting things. The first question I asked you, he said he still has a second-degree sprain of his knee and everything like that. He probably still is not ready to play, but if it's in doubt, you think he won't play because of his contract?
In my opinion,
what's his opinion?
No. Personally speaking, I played. I didn't know that I didn't have a PCL to begin with. Like, you don't need a PCL to run around and play football. It helps in stability. When it shows up, that ligament shows up is when you lose the MCL, because then your knee becomes like really dangling. There's 3 main ligaments. That's one. But the PCL is really a non-factor in a lot of ways. And for him to have it not completely snap, I'm absolutely 100% convinced that he's holding out because of the contract. Now, this is where I totally disagree with the salary cap. And if you're Lamar Jackson, or if you're the Baltimore Ravens, you should be able to, after year 1 of him playing, be able to completely roll around and give him a veteran contract. This is where it bites you in the ass of the team. If you don't sign him after that 4th year and you roll the dice, this is what you get. Good for Lamar. Hey Baltimore, you made this personal. You made it personal. Without Lamar, you can't win. And this is going to be an embarrassment, because you can win the game with Lamar. That's how good he is. All you need is the defense and Lamar, and you can win your football games. And he's been doing it for years with basically no wide receivers. He's been doing it like Brady. He runs around with his legs. Brady does it with his arm. But Lamar's every year when he doesn't get hurt, he's a candidate for MVP, because he's not as bad, and everyone considers him a running quarterback. He's developed as a passer, and he's one of the very deadliest quarterbacks in the NFL, because he's gotten smarter. He's more experienced. I watch him. He's in total control out there. He's not out there like Randall Cunningham and not knowing anything about the play sheet, the play calls, and just going out there. And I mean, the stories with Randall were great, but Lamar's not.
What was the Buddy Ryan ad from Randall? Just need to make three or four like plays, and he'll be all right.
Yeah,
and we'll take care of the rest.
Well, as a quarterback, you have to call it the formation, the protection, any checks and audibles in the huddle, and go through the whole play. Randall and Dave Alexander was the center. He would tell me the stories. They were phenomenal. He would say Randall would come in the huddle, be 3rd and 9. He goes, "All right, I'm going to the house. Let's go. Ready, break." And that was the play call. Now, as players, you have to decipher that within like 12 seconds and get out there. And so Dave said he would have to call the play after Randall called the play. But no, if you watch Lamar, he's out there, he's orchestrating. So, and when you watch the offensive coach call timeout, or Harbaugh uses up his timeouts, he gets pissed. So he understands that having the ball, the game's going to come down to him, and having the ball in the last possession. He understands that now, and he throws the ball away, and he doesn't turn the ball over, and he runs when he has to, and he does it. He'll run and slide now. He's not like Justin Fields, who was taking off like Superman all year and taking hits and hitting the ground. So without Lamar, I went to the game this year. The Jets played him, and I said, man, if the Ravens don't have Lamar, the Jets win that game. And it was a boring game, defensive struggle, but Lamar was the best player on the field, and it wasn't even close. And Washington, without him, this could be a shutout. This Ravens game could be a shutout.
Let's talk about the Bengals for a second. The defending AFC champions got off to a little bit of a slow start this year. They've been playing great ball. Joe Burrow and Chase and Higgins and Boyd. They've kind of found their rhythm, especially the last probably 6-7 weeks. Again, without Lamar Jackson, prohibitive favorites in this game.
You don't want to come out as slow as they did, but this is the way as a coach I would do it. You don't play anybody in the preseason because you can't afford to get anybody hurt. There's nothing wrong with coming out and having a slow start, as long as you have Joe Burrow and a guy that can pick it up. I love Burrow. When we did the draft pick, I wasn't going to take him as my first pick of the draft just because of his mobility, but man, is he good. And he's gotten better, and you watch him play. He plays.
He's made believers out of a lot of people.
He's really good. I didn't believe him. I just didn't like him as the first pick of the draft. But he's proven to be that good.
Proving everyone wrong.
Yeah. They're tough. They're so tough at home. And if it's Bittery at that place, that's a miserable spot. So they're tough to beat. And Burrow's playing such good football, and they play good defense. They play good defense against a team without Lamar. This could be 34-0. That it could be one of those games. This is another game between the Bengals and the Bills. You could get 70-0, because the quarterback.
And earlier you mentioned how much it's deserving that the Jaguars games in prime time tonight. I think when the playoff schedule and the matchups were announced, I think we knew what the Monday night game was going to be: the Dallas Cowboys against Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Very interesting matchup. I mean, a lot of people say, but I stopped after 5 years ago. Tom Brady may be playing for his football life on Monday night.
Oh, I love him here. Love him here. Everyone's probably talking Dallas and Dak. Now they're loaded too.
Well, let me ask you a question before we get to that. How much is that egg that the Cowboys laid Sunday in Washington? What's that mean coming into this game? Is that just, what, we're not watching the film, it's over with, the season really starts Monday night? I mean, is that what maybe McCarthy's thinking, the Cowboys are thinking?
Yeah, there's no when you play in that league, you realize the past week means absolutely nothing. Now, trending wise, yeah, you don't want to play a dog crap game going into the final game. But the biggest problem here is you got Brady, this is like preseason for him in terms of his mentality. But they're healthy.
Yeah.
Mike Evans and Tom Brady are both healthy, and all of a sudden now,
Godwin's back making plays.
Fournette, and then you got some running. And now my question is Wirfs. I didn't see if Wirfs was playing. If Tristan Wirfs is playing, this is a dogfight. This is one of those 24-23 games. You know what I mean? This could be a 30. This could be a shootout. But don't give Brady the ball. And Brady back in the fourth quarter. If the Cowboys make this a game and Tampa's in this game in the fourth quarter, Brady's going to win the game. It's not. You don't, when you're 45, you just don't forget the fourth quarter. So he's, and if you watch Tampa the way they play, they're not out. Brady's not out there looking for stats. He's out there. They're running the football. They're keeping themselves in the game, knowing if they do get into the fourth quarter and Brady's in it, they're going to win the football game. And there's not even a question. If Brady has the ball with a minute to go under a touchdown, it's over.
We're winning the game.
It's over. Yeah. So that's the objective. Whereas the other way around, I'm not so sure Dak's going to go down there and get that touchdown where Brady's 100%. So
just hope they have some timeouts left, because, Dak likes to call those quarterback draws with no timeouts left, running down the middle of the field with like 12 seconds left. So
the only way Brady would do that is if he gets dinged. We've seen Brady lose track of downs too. So, but that's Micah. If Micah is a factor, the Cowboys are in trouble. But they'll be smart enough. Tampa Bay will be
The
smart.
Bucks are in trouble if Parsons is a factor.
Yeah. So they got to take care of Parsons, and the Cowboys defense is no joke. So, good games, really good game. This is why
Can't wait.
Everybody,
so the game's going to be, by the time I put this up, games will be less than 2 hours away. So we got to the time of the show where we're going to just put on this, Glenn, he really give the straight out picks, but he does have the picks. He likes a 3-game tease. And for all the people watching, especially on Follow the Action, social media know that they get the 10 points with the 3-game tease. So hold on 1 second. I have some, let me see here. I have we got to do this.
And the reason I the 3-team tease is usually a death sentence, but the reason I did this was because I'm convinced that nobody's beating the Bills. Backup quarterback's not going to go near the Bills, and the Bengals.
We're going to put it up in a second. I got to put the drum roll. Hold on.
I'm off my baggage. I had my brother.
There it is. Glenn's 3-team tease. We take the 49ers plus half a point, the Bills minus 3.5, and the Bengals plus 1.5.
So I got 2 home teams with points, okay? And then the Bills games actually scares the crap out of me because I played in the AFC East, and I know how well those teams match up. So as much as this is stone cold lock, the Bills game's the one that worries me the most because that point spread's too much. That could be a field goal game if I'm wrong. So you don't make the playoffs and you just be total ass. So you got to you can't not respect the Dolphins and what they've done. But Bengals home, Joey B plus the points, and then I got the Niners at home plus the points. So just if the Niners and the Bengals just win, I win the bet. And then I think the Bills game's a flat crushing blowout because of the quarterbacks and the fact that we're going to get 3 back.
So
we're getting them.
Either tomorrow night. Either tomorrow night, the crowd's going to be either doing this. Or they'll be doing this. And Glenn, I know you've heard this sound before.
But how about this? If I'm the San Diego Chargers, I want my fight song back. If I'm from the Dolphins, do you have that one? Miami.
No, I don't. No, I don't. But you know what? If the Dolphins win, I'll find it. Maybe I'll be able to figure that out.
Find the lyrics with the Dolphins, and then find the original, which was the Chargers.
San Diego Superchargers, that one.
You're my San Diego Chargers. Yep, San Diego Chargers.
All right, well, we just did 30 minutes here, so Glenn, you gave good analysis, even though you talked about every team in the league on top of the 12 that we wanted to talk about.
Yeah. How I go, how everything wandered. I wander quarterback, and everything revolves around Jalen Hurts, the Eagles mostly because I'm a Birds guy. But yeah, I'm a quarterback and all quarterback. Everything comes back to the QB analysis. And when I gamble, it's usually quarterback versus quarterback, especially in the playoffs. Look at the quarterbacks. That's why the Jags. That game's going to be a war.
If you get up in time before 1 o'clock tomorrow, maybe we'll preview Sunday's action, maybe review Saturday's action. I got to, tell Glenn to set his alarm for like 12 o'clock tomorrow.
I told my wife, wake me up at 1:45 p.m.